Alright, today, well, over the last few days, I've been making something really interesting. I have made a scythe and a bag of seeds. Now, that sounds kind of lame, but it's... Look, I poured my heart into this, okay? So, let me first use the scythe, which I made this model for, based off of a picture I found when I looked up size. Yeah, I found one that looked like this and it caught my eye, and so I made it. I mean, I'm assuming I'm not violating copyright by doing that because, like, it's a scythe. I mean, I don't know who made this, but I'm assuming they probably don't care that or whatever. Anyway, yeah, so first, does that. This is the animation loop for it. Yeah, so it goes down, swishes back and forth, and then when that's done, it goes back up. And then when it hits something, with the tip, it turns into the crop. And then the seed bag, you can place it down by hitting E, and you can also pick it up by walking over it and hitting E. Now the placing down part actually works by placing it where, or it places it determines where down is by wherever the dig point, this thing is pointing. Well, that wasn't supposed to happen. I'll be right back. Okay, well, yeah, I got it fixed. Yeah, then it moves, when you put crops onto it, here, let me demonstrate. You can also take crops out. Yeah, so when you drop a crop onto it, I said when you drop a crop onto it, it goes in the bag and increments the counter. Unless it's full, in which case it just goes, like, right on top of it. Now the way that is determined is with a on-trigger stay, so that the player can actually pick up the bag. That means that you can just move the bag under where crops are. Also, you may notice that the crops are floating. That is to give the player a chance to move them, so that they don't just instantly fall onto the ground and they get planted. Okay, now I pick it up with E. I go over to the seed bag, and I throw. And it launches a seed. And I can throw many. Like that. I threw like 90 there. They didn't all land. Luckily, I can see some of them in the background are they would be landing right now if there was land to touch, but there isn't, which means that's less lag for us. So yeah. Now you're not really meant to be carrying the seeds over to sell with this bag. You're supposed to be this is supposed to be more for like planting them. I guess you can transport from this to the cart, which I will add next time, hopefully. Yeah, and as you saw, throwing all of them used up all the seeds and planted a bunch of plants. Yeah, that's how it works. Now, there's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff to get that to actually work. I'll go over the scythe first because it's a lot less complicated than the seed bag. So, for the scythe, I just repurposed the harvester. And I gave it a public bool is scythe, so that you can have it detect if it's a scythe. Or sorry, so that it can behave accordingly if it's a scythe. And then I have the animator. So here, if it is a scythe, immediately upon you harvesting, if it's a scythe, you will immediately output. And then it has an animator, the same exact animator I used for the shovel and for the hoe. I didn't add any sound effects because I didn't want to do like corny anime swooshing sound effects or whatever, and I don't really know what scythes sound like, so I just left that blank for now. And then let me show you the animation tree for this. So it works the following way. It starts with scythe going down, and then either you cancel and it goes up, or you continue holding and it goes into swing animation, and then when you let go, it goes up. And then it goes back to blank. And then here's a thing to be referenced by the animation to toggle between these states. So let me show. Now this doesn't get turned off, only the seed bag, so just so you know. So, I think that's in scythe, yep, scythe down. Right here, it sets the state of scythe down to true, because then it is down. I didn't want to do that right after starting the animation because it's not exactly down when it does that. Oh, by the way, I modeled, just a neat thing I did. I modeled this part, the like blade of the scythe, by using a circle and then extruding it and then changing the geometry of the circle. Well, no, I think I extruded last. No, okay, so I had a circle and then I changed where the points on the edge of the circle were to roughly fit the image. I couldn't just... it was a lot harder than like something... Okay, sorry. I mean, there was a lot of editing because it's a very specific shape with a very specific curve. Yeah, and then scythe swing starts down and then goes across, then flips over, and then goes back across. I don't know if this is exactly even in terms of the time, but I don't really care. And then, yep, just opposite of the scythe down. And now, let me go over the seed bag logic. This is 340 lines of code. Just all from scratch. Okay, so first there's all this stuff, which I won't say right now because, well, it'd be easier to just say when it's relevant. Okay, so first, let's go over the animations. So we've got single seed throw, which works like this. It just rotates around it. You may notice that it is not rotating around the center of the object. That is because I had to, that is because I moved where the origin of the object is in Blender, so that I wouldn't have to have, or so that I wouldn't have to figure out some weird thing with getting its parent thing to reference it, because the parent would be the thing that's spinning around and yada yada, and I didn't really want that. Originally, I planned on you grabbing a seed out and then chucking it when you let go, kind of like a grenade. But then I realized there's probably no consistent way to grab a specific object and then animate that when you don't have the object. So I just kind of gave up on that. Oh, and then right here it does the seed swinging, or does the seed slinging part. And then for seed throw all, first it mostly does going horizontal, and then about fully horizontal, and then it starts swinging. Right here it does the throw all the way around, and then it does this cool thing where it swings around and settles back down. Which that is actually exactly how I initially planned it, pretty much. Okay, so first, drop bag. I added a new keybind to drop the bag for E. So if this object is active, then if it was wait, I use this? Oh, I do use that. Okay. If you are pressing the button instead of releasing it, if it has not been placed yet, do the bag place. That's to prevent you from just, I guess, moving the bag around when you're not holding it. Not the most game-breaking of things, but I still don't want that. And then it sets this variable called placing picking to be true. And then if you oh, and then when the button gets not held down or not pressed or whatever, this placing picking is set to false. This placing picking is I have this here so that the player only picks the bag back up when they collide with it and are hitting the bag key, which is E. Because otherwise they would just place the bag at their feet and then pretty much immediately pick it back up. And this is how I detect the E part. Okay, so how much time have I been recording? 14 minutes already. Okay, I'm probably not going to get to do what I was planning on doing today. Oh well. There's a debug log. It sets the parent to be nothing, and then it changes the mesh to the placed down mesh. They are two separate meshes. There's no animation between them. They're just separate meshes. Uh, and then it does a raycast at throw point origin, which is this. I should probably get rid of this. This isn't being used. Actually, what was that being used? No, it was not. Good. Yeah, it was originally at that point, but I wanted to move it up so that it would come out of the camera instead of out of the bag, so that you could actually aim the thing. Okay, so sets or does a raycast at throw point origin dot position, and then negative throw point origin up. In other words, the throw point origin's down direction gets the raycast out, and then max distance of 100, so you don't just place it very far away on accident. Okay, transform.position equals the place you hit plus 0.25 f to account for the place you hit being the ground, and you don't want the bag to be halfway in the ground, you want it to be on top. And then it sets the rotation to be, it sets the rotation to be up so that you don't place the bag and it's on its side. Or even worse, diagonal or slanted or whatever. Okay, then, if there are any seeds in the bag, for every seed, set the local position to be the current position of the seed, -2 in the z direction. And then the bag pickup has actually the same thing, but +2 in the z direction. Without that, all of the seeds would be like where the player's hand is, which isn't, or where the player's hand is when they pick the bag up, which isn't ideal, because then you might see that, and you'd be like, why is that happening? But also, yeah, and then this is placed for weapon wheel. This is so that when you switch weapons and the bag is placed, it doesn't get turned off, I guess, is how I would say it. Yeah, I added an exception here for if it is being, or for if it has not been placed, then it can turn off, but if it can't, but if it has been placed, which would be the else, which is missing, because no need to include that, then just don't do anything. Or, in other words, don't turn it off. And then it starts this coroutine, which is just a delay for 0. Or for a tenth of a second to place or to set this variable for placed to true. This is so you don't pick up the bag after you've put it down, like immediately after. Yeah, there was another variable for that, but that was the detection of the button for picking it up. And you need to set this on a delay because you are pressing the button when you are putting it down. So, yeah. Okay, bag pickup. Just do basically the exact opposite of all that stuff. So transform parent is, instead of null, it is transform parent instead of null is return point, which is this thing. That's roughly where the hand is. Oh no, okay. That is, yeah, that's roughly where the hand is. Oh, by the way, I also made the hands parented to the camera, so that you're holding the things instead of them just levitating in front of you with your hands at the side. Yeah. And then it sets it to return to its position. Resume the correct rotation. And then the exact opposite of that seeds thing from earlier, and then set these to false. Okay, on trigger stay. If you have placed the thing down, if the thing is colliding with is sellable, which is anything from a granola bar to corn. Well, not corn, the currently planted thing, corn, the harvested version, like the thing you can plant. Then if there is room, set the, and it is not already in the object, I'm sorry, and it is not already in the list of seeds, then add it to the list of seeds, shrink it down, set its parent to this, set it to a random position within the bounds of the bag. That's so it's like, so they aren't all in the same position. Yeah. Because that would look bad. And then, if it has a rigid body, destroy the rigid body. You may be wondering why I don't just turn the rigid body off, or turn the gravity off. That is because, one, I'm pretty sure if it's kinematic, it won't move at all, even with its parent. And two, if it is, okay, whatever. And if it is, and if it has a rigid body at all, then it's got momentum, which is not really good if you're moving the thing around a lot, because then things will just fly out in ways that they shouldn't have flown out, like through the bag instead of out of it. But don't worry, this will get recreated. This will get re-added to the crop later. Actually, let me test if the kinematic doesn't actually work, because if so, then I could have crops that have different weights. Okay, so I did some testing, or am doing some testing, and setting the rigid bodies to kinematic, the corn doesn't fly out. The player does. If I just swing the bag around, I just kind of build up momentum. Now this sack isn't supposed to be Thor's hammer, so I'm gonna not be doing that. Okay. If you collide with the player, and then if the bag collides with the player, and if the player is pressing the button, pick up the bag. And then update the texts. Or texts, whatever. And then this is so, instead of triggering when you remove things from the bag by, like, detecting on trigger exit, because that wasn't working, I decided to just trigger this from the pickup. So if the thing you're hitting has is a product, if the product has a parent, if the parent has bag logic, meaning if the parent is the sack, then then do this thing. So if the bag is placed, if it is sellable, which actually I guess that's redundant at this part. If the list contains this object, remove it from the list, divide the scale by 0.1, which will increase the scale because this is less than 1. Then set the transform to parent, then set the parent to null, and then give it a rigid body with use gravity set to true, and then update the texts. Okay. This is change seed spread. So, every time I throw a seed, I trigger this. What it does is, for every throw point, delete it. And then, yeah, it's more deleting, and then make new throw points in, well, this is all pretty complicated, so let me just demonstrate by turning the throw points visible. So this is what the throw point looks like. It is the dig point moved a bit far away from this so that it changes, or so that it's 1 in front of it, and 2 so that it changes when it's rotated. Okay. So, if I throw a single seed, you notice there is 1 throw point. If I throw all of them, there is that many throw points. They're all evenly spaced. I think some of them are probably overlapping. Yeah. The spacing is determined by throw spacing. The way it works is if there is, if you are only throwing 1 seed, set the seed, or set the throw point to the center. If you are throwing multiple, then multiply the amount you are throwing by, here, let me get the code up. So, make a new throw point, set the parent to the throw point origin. Okay, whatever. If you have only 1 seed, then so for every seed that you need to throw, okay, if you have 1 seed, if seeds throwing is greater than 1, if this is the first seed, if this is the first throw point, put it all the way on the right, and then set it to, rotate it so that it's the one all the way on the right, and it'll be about like half of what it would be. So like if it is, if the spacing is like 30 degrees, this will be setting it to 15, so that you have 1 on the right at 15 degrees, and then 1 on the left at negative 15 degrees. So that it'll be, so that instead of like, that'll be centered around the middle, I mean. I am having a hard time processing words right now. How much time do I have left? I have been recording for half an hour. Wow, okay. If this is the first one, then just set it to just in the middle. If there was only 1 seed to throw, I mean. And then if this is any of the other ones, rotate it by, this part is so it rotates it by the amount needed. So if there is like 10 seeds with 10 degrees of spacing between each, then this will rotate it at 100 degrees divided by 2. And then set the throw point, or sorry, set all the other throw points. Same stuff as that one, except it will rotate from the first throw point, meaning this will be the one all the way on the left, guaranteed, or sorry, meaning that one will be the one all the way on the right, guaranteed. And then it'll rotate backwards. So, like if you have 2 with 30 degrees of spacing, you'll have one at 15 degrees on the right and one at 15 degrees on the left. And then add the throw point, the new point, the child of the new point. That is because the new point is actually that holder, so that it can be rotated and like in front of it. Or sorry, so that it can be rotated and like in front of it. Yeah, okay, that whatever. Okay, this is for rescaling the seed. This gets triggered before throwing or whatever. So this is for throwing a seed. In this part I use functions when I might not have needed to use functions, but whatever. This isn't really aptly named. So it sets the seed to having no parent, sets the seed's position in the world to the position in the world of the throw point it is supposed to go to, and then gives it a rigid body with use gravity true. And then for throwing a single seed, you change the seed spread, throw seed, which is this. If it has a rigid body, which it should, this is so I can do a try get component. This is not really detecting the rigid body. I know it will have a rigid body at this point. This is so I can simplify the code instead of having a much longer string. Set the rigid body's velocity to throw points, or sorry, set it to the first throw point, or first throw points forward times throw speed. Remove it from the list, update the texts. For throwing all seeds, it does this again, and then for every seed that you need to throw, or sorry, for every throw point that there will be, rescale the seed and do the throw seed thing. And then, yeah, just same kind of thing as this, but just in bulk, but just for every seed. And now instead of the first seed, or sorry, instead of the first throw point, it is the throw point it is associated with. Then clear the list, update the texts. This is for animating the seed this is the single fire mode of the seed animation. If the weapon wheel is selected, or sorry, if this weapon is selected instead of if it is enabled, because if it's enabled, then it would be throwing, then you'd be able to do this on the ground when you are not holding it, which would mean it's just kind of spinning for no reason. Cool. Upon context started, which is button down, if there are seeds to throw, set throw seed to 1, throw seed 1, throw seed 0, throw seed 2, throw seed 0. I decided to use an int there instead of several bools, just because. If there is not seeds to throw, set throw seed to 0. If context.cancelled, just immediately stop throwing. Now there is a thing where if you let go while it is like looped, like while it is doing the second animation, it'll throw another seed. Like, yeah. But that's, maybe I'll fix that later, maybe I won't. Okay, and then animate seed all. Oop, notifications, turn that off. Animate seed all. If this is not, or it makes sure this is also not placed. I don't know why I don't have that in the other one. I'll add that just in case. Yeah, this is the same exact thing, just with 2 instead of 1. This gets called at that point I mentioned like 20 minutes ago in the seed throwing animation. Rescales the seed and then throws a single seed. And then for the throw all, it does that. And update the texts. If it is placed down, set the canvas for the overlay. Sorry, if it is not placed down, set the canvas for the overlay to be true. So it'll like appear here on this, like in this area, with all the other UI. And then set the world canvas to be false. And then set the display text of the overlay to be seeds left plus seeds count slash plus max seed count. And then just the opposite for if it is placed in the world. This took, the seed bag took about 2 days to code. Now, not 2 full days, but like, this took like 10 hours in total, probably. Well, maybe, I don't know. Actually, yeah, that's about accurate. Now the scythe took like 2 or 3. This is probably the most complex feature I have made yet. Well, maybe not. The reason I have it so you can throw them all out in like a shotgun type thing or whatever is because eventually I plan on making when the combat part of the game comes around, I plan on you being able to use the bag of seeds as like elemental grenades. So you can chuck 1 grenade at the enemies, or chuck all of them and just kill them all. But when you run out of ammo, you have to go and restock, probably in combat, meaning it'll leave you open. So you get like a quick big burst of damage, and then you've got to go in there pretty much or without one of your main weapons equipped. So risk reward kind of thing. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed that, because I certainly did. If you are even still watching. Okay, whatever. Goodbye.